Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Observations of an American Living in Germany. Well, I've talked before about the political parties and the elections coming up for the EU. I believe it's on Sunday, the 9th of June. Well, I've been seeing the signs everywhere up on light posts and things like that. And not long ago, I noticed there was another sign, and it was, of course, it was written in German, but I looked at it and it said PDH, like Paul David Henry on it. And I thought, well, what's that? And it said something about something POLITIKE or something. So I was like, oh, that's got to be a political party. So looked up on the internet, went to Wikipedia, and there's actually the PDH is actually the Party of Humanists. Now, that's not to be confused with the Humanist Party, but it's a party of humanists that was started, according to Wikipedia, in 2019 in Germany. And they don't have any seats in parliament, to my knowledge. They're fairly new, kind of the up-and-coming thing. But I was like, okay, this looks pretty interesting. They seem like they're a cross between leftists and libertarians. They believe in having more nuclear power as a way to fight climate change. And that was kind of surprising. They believe in legalized euthanasia, legalized sex work, universal basic income. And they wanted to, obviously they're secular, but they wanted to get rid of the rule that stores and businesses in Germany can't be open Sundays. Well, being from the United States, I'd be like, hey, that's great. Because in the United States, almost everything is open Sunday. It's just sort of out of necessity. We tend to work a lot more hours than Germans do, but still, we're like almost a 24-hour society. But like I said, I can't vote here. I'm not a German. I'm not insisting in any way that German businesses should be open on Sundays just because we are in the United States. I'm not one of those Americans, okay? So, stuff is closed here on Sunday. If I need anything badly enough, I either get it on Saturday, I wait till Monday, or I go on the American base. The commissary and the PX are both open Sundays on post. But I found that was very interesting that they were pro-nuke. They tend to have some of the other positions that in the United States you would say they were on the left, but they almost sound like left-leaning libertarians in a way. Of course, you've got the CDU and the CSU. I think they're only in certain provinces of or certain states of Germany. But you've got the SPD, you've got Die Link, which is their left, and you've got the, if I say it right, Grün Alliance and the Green Party. We have the Green Party in the United States too. They are like utopians. They have some stuff that sounds great, but they can never tell you how they're going to pay for it. I suppose that's the same as it is in Germany. You've got the FDP, which seems to be slightly right of center, the Free Democrat Party. And obviously you've got the SPD, the Social Democrats. And I believe that's where Olaf Scholz, your chancellor, comes from. So I always heard of the expression, the traffic light parties, and I had no idea what that meant. Well, apparently it's the red of the SPD, the yellow of the FDP, the Free Democrats, and the green of the Green Party. And of course, the AFD party is kind of a light blue with a red lettering in it. And then you've got the some of the other minor parties. You've got the PDH, as I mentioned. And then you've got the BSW, the SSW, and the FW. And then there were a couple other parties that were on the list too. You've got a lot of political parties here. It's interesting how they build coalitions. But I've already talked about some of the other parties before. And I know this election coming up in June is just to represent you in the EU at Brussels. So your turnout probably won't be as high. Just like in the United States, and we have a primary election, or sometimes our elections for state representatives have a much lower turnout. than when you're electing a president. And some states, like my home state of Virginia, we elect our governor in the year after the presidential election. So our next governor will be elected in 2025 and then 2029 and so on. And our state elections are always held in odd numbered years. So, and some states might elect a governor the same year they elect a president. So they probably get better turnover that way. But and again, I do like the idea in Germany how you vote on Sundays. We do ours on Tuesday. Tuesday? Who thought of that? But nevertheless, I just wanted to throw that out there today. Monday here was a German holiday, and it was pretty interesting to see, how there was hardly any traffic. In the United States, Monday, the 27th of May, is known as Memorial Day, and that is a legal holiday in the United States. It's people say it's a military holiday. Well, that's true, but it honors people who died in service of the country. We have, I think it's in June, we have Armed Forces Day. That is to commemorate the people who are in uniform now who are serving. And then in November on the 11th, we have Veterans Day. That is to honor anybody who served in the past, such as my wife and I are both veterans of the Army. I was in the reserves for a few years, and she was active duty for 24 years. So that's what Veterans Day is for. And then Memorial Day is for the people who basically died in uniform. So I suppose the Germans have a holiday or something for that. I know that they used to call, I think one of them used to be called Armistice Day or something. I think that's what Veterans Day used to be. I'm not sure about that, but nevertheless, it's, the Germans have some holidays that the United States doesn't celebrate, and then we have some that they don't celebrate. July 4th, Thanksgiving, things like that. President's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Probably not going to be real popular in Germany, but everybody has Christmas Day and New Year's Day and Christmas Eve. So, that's pretty much a Western tradition. But anyway, nonetheless, I didn't know who the PDH was. And when in Germany, if you don't know something, find a computer and look it up. There's an English translation for most things. So that party of humanists is very small. I mean, I think they only have 700 members or something like that. But it's designed for, I guess they call it free thinkers. Well, I'm a free thinker for sure. And I could go along with maybe half the stuff. I'm not too wild about their economic policies, but as far as civil liberties are concerned and enabling businesses to be open Sunday, enabling, not requiring, I'm down with that. And as far as sex work, as long as it's consenting adults, I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm married and I'm monogamous, so you could say monotonous too. But no, I don't have a dog in that fight, but I don't think people should be thrown in jail for consenting behavior between two adults. I'm not, that UBI stuff sounds nice, but it kind of violates a lot of free market economic principles. And there are other ways to have organic economic growth without the government trying to always mess with the economy, because then they screw it up and then they have to fix it somewhere down the road. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. Schönen Nachmittag, good afternoon, and I guess I'll catch you next time. But I'm always learning new things over here, and next month I get to see some other countries. My wife and I are going to see Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Denmark again. We've already been there. We're going to see Denmark again. We're going to see Norway and Sweden. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Trying to see as much as we can while we're over here before we go back across the pond. Anyway, have a great day.